Hi, YouTube. Welcome in. It's great to see you. We are here on part 18. I think that's right. Of Phantom Liberty with a Therapist. I'm so glad to have you this far into the playthrough. Thanks for hanging out with me and for all the thumbs up and the comments and the nice things you've been saying about the playthrough and all that fun stuff. I really appreciate you all taking the time to hang out and enjoy this with me. I am looking forward to this episode. It's going to be a good time. Let's see what we got. I got to fix one more thing. I messed around. I shouldn't have messed around with this. Okay. So go to the place where Jago will meet with the Voodoo boys. And we're going to leave Sonmi hanging in the... Alright, let's hop into my super cool car.
You from around here?
Is this my... This is not my super cool car, but this is a super cool car, so I'm gonna take it. There we go. That's more my vibe. Did you ever try calling your car to see if it resurrected from the bottom of the water? I have not. That's right. Drove my super cool car into the bottom of the water. Hostile area? What? Oh shit, dude.
How long have you been tracking me? It's them!
Activate Aguilar's imprint and wait for the Voodoo boys. Ugh,
time to go Cuban.
Here we go. What's up, Johnny? Sometime later. Find a way to get rid of the Voodoo boys. I don't get a dossier this time, huh? Alright, we gotta play this cool.
Probably not a good time to take Aguilar for a walk.
I am the Cuban Missile Crisis. This is my nickname in high school. Secluded place. This Jago is one cautious kitten. As he should be. This ain't no small risk for him or us. But if this deal shakes out, Dogtown's ours. The scavs and other shit-eaters will handle later. What's up, June?
Allez,
Piss off. This ain't your turf.
I have good news. We will talk. I will not shed your blood. A very good deal.
Mwen fout aveti
I
ou?
fucking warned you.
Ba ou mon
Oh.
soldadan? Mwen koupe.
Okay. I handled that like a goddamn assassin. That was full John Wick there. It didn't really seem smart to, like, antagonize those guys.
Gotta wait for the man.
Out in the open? Ah, want a face-off, do ya? Aguilar, you saucy senor.
Yeah, it's me, Saucy. You got something else you want to say, Johnny? Oh, baby, here we go.
There they are. Gonk's got no clue what's coming. Think I'm gonna shed a tear.
Whoa. Look at this guy.
Something ain't right, boss.
And you are...
I answered with my own question. Do you know what happens when someone in Havana lights a cigar?
somewhere in the world. Aguilar takes a life.
So they say. Do you know what else they say? That you have angered the wrong people. We know of your plan to oust Bennett. We know of your new allies. The Voodoo boys? Poor choice. My superiors follow Christ, Jago.
I never intended any disrespect. What happens now?
Ooh.
Aguilar?
The chain of command. It is a concept you know. If just one link fails, the chain breaks. You will lay your ambitions to rest. You will resume your place in the chain and hold firm.
Charlie!
Think you're hot shit? Prove it.
Okay. Really? I gotta do this whole goddamn thing again? Oh. I thought it would maybe give me, like... I mean, hey. I thought maybe I'd call his bluff or something.
Time to go Cuban.
Alright.
Côté isolé. Jago ça?
Hi.
Allez, ça c'est pas territoire.
I have good news. We will talk. I would not
Surprisingly
shed your
realistic
blood.
outcome. Indeed.
A
What
very
I get
good
for
deal.
hesitating. My Iron Man playthrough would be over.
Mwen fout aveti ou? Ma fout fini.
Pas de pitié pour yo!
freaking clean, man. I'd get the opportunity to do that again, though.
Gotta wait for the man.
Out in the open? Ah, want a face-off, do ya? Aguilar, you saucy senor.
Yeah, I'm saucy. All right, let's do this again. You're gonna talk super slow.
There they are. Gonk's got no clue what's coming. Think I'm gonna shed a tear.
Look at this guy, man. He's a big boy.
Something ain't right, boss.
And you are...
You know who I am.
I answered with my own question. Do you know what?
Somewhere in the world, Aguilar takes a life.
So they say. That you have had. We know the Voodoo.
What happens now?
The chain of. You.
I'm shooting this time, pal.
Think you're hot shit? Prove it.
What did you think was gonna happen?
You... So the legends are true. Point taken. I'll back down. But there's something you should know. Bennett is Arasaka's pawn. They aim to control Dogtown through him.
I see. Now fuck off. Run along.
But what do...
I said run before I changed my mind.
Plot thickens. Once they're gone, uncloak for your face melts like Scott Chaco.
Just getting started, Johnny.
Guess you ought to keep hands in the loop.
Well played, Aguilar. High five, mi hermano cubano.
All right. Call Mr. Hands. That's it? Taken care of?
V, have you made progress? Has Jago reconsidered?
Has indeed. Also, Voodoo boys are out of the equation.
Splendid. Have you anything else to add?
Actually, yeah. Jago claims Bennett and Arasaka are fucking.
A man with his balls in a vice makes many interesting sounds. A fixer, however, separates fact from the spewings of a panicked soul. My concern now, not yours. Still, I thank you for telling me.
What now?
Time to pay tribute to the fallen. Aguilar will attend Hansen's funeral service and ensure a smooth transfer of power.
Uh-huh. Sounds like you expect trouble.
Such events can trigger geysers of raw emotion. No two people grieve alike, and rarely rationally. Ceremony and wake both at the Black Sapphire. Aguilar should enter without a hitch.
Got it.
Le roi est mort, vive le roi. Good luck, V.
Yeah, so two things on that. The first one is exactly not my problem. I don't give a shit if Bennett's in the pocket of Arasaka. I mean, I got bigger fish to fry. I'm not really worrying about that right now. That's Hands to worry about. I got the info while I'm on it. All I'm doing is relaying what the dude told me. Hands wants to pursue it, great. Hands doesn't want to pursue it, that's fine too. As the messenger, it is my responsibility to deliver the message, not my interpretation of it, unless asked. And honestly, that's something that I really believe a lot of people could learn. Is know when to just give people the info instead of your 2 cents layered on top of it. Let other people make a decision about what to do with the information, particularly if you're not involved in it. And that was a splendid little handoff there. The second thing is Hands is right and wrong simultaneously in what he said about grief. First thing is, rationality doesn't have anything to do with grief as we understand it in terms of like the raw emotion of it. He is correct that no two people grieve alike. The same person doesn't grieve the same way for different things. The way that you grieve when your grandfather dies is different than how you grieve when your uncle dies, or when your best friend dies, or if your child dies. Like, grief is contextually loaded, it's individual, it's not something to compare. Your grief process is your grief process. The only thing rational about grief is that something happened, you lost somebody or something, and you feel whatever you feel about it. Your body had a physiological response to it. That's the rational component of grief. Now, that said, irrationality can exacerbate some of the painful emotions that people experience with grief if you're not careful with how you are internalizing it and conceptualizing it and putting it in your mind and carrying it forward. So you do have to be mindful about those things. But ultimately, the way that you grieve is the way that you grieve. The only time it's a problem is if you cause harm to others via your means of grieving. Beyond that, it is what it is. There's no right or wrong way to do it. The stages of grief is a myth. You don't have to go through all the stages. You certainly don't go through them in a particular order. That's just not how it works. It's a unique individual experience. And now we get to see how everybody's unique individual experience falls in the context of Hansen.
To the sound of 88.9.
I hate that you play the radio in your own head. All right, what do I want to do here? Do I want to take this van? Can't take this van? What the hell is that? Nah. Whoa. Turn back. Nothing out there for you. What? Wait a minute. Am I V still? No. I gotta take this suit off. Gross. Cat. Don't put your foot up there, thank you. Oh, there we go. That's better. Well, I guess now we can see if my car is exhumed from... Oh, it is. I'll be honest, I'm not a huge fan of it. Let's take my Jeep. I haven't driven this thing yet. All right, so the Black Sapphire. Solid visibility in this car. Hansen is dead. Time for a morning. Black Sapphire. I'm super sad. I'm so sad that Kurt is dead. He was such a badass.
Sure, it was shitty when Hansen was around, but it was a stable kind of shitty. But now...
It's a total shit, NATO, June. The man held this entire place together.
Think you will all collapse without him?
Time will tell. Things will change for sure. And for the worse, I think.
Fuck. Why do things always have to change for the worse?
Because that's the one thing that never changes, June.
Leadership matters. And would we say Kurt Hansen was the best in terms of his ideals and his values? No. Did he seem to be out for himself? Yeah. But leadership absolutely does matter. Humans exist in hierarchical structures. And we tend to talk about hierarchy like it's a dirty word, but it's really not, so long as the people who occupy positions higher in the hierarchy are aware of that power and wield it responsibly. Trusting humans to do that is a very difficult thing. But yeah, as much of a pain in the ass as Hansen was, he did galvanize Dogtown. He did have a cohesive structure. He did have Barghest laying down certain rules and laws. I realize they're not, again, I'm not trying to say that what he was doing was good, but from a structural, societal standpoint, the meso and macro system of Dogtown was pretty well put together because there was clear established leadership and hierarchy. And when you change that, it absolutely messes with the humans involved. Humans may want change, but humans generally don't adapt well to, or they can adapt well to change, but they don't psychologically tend to enjoy it. Sometimes even if it's for the better because it's different. And when we know how to anticipate things, we tend to prefer that. So when you inject change into a system by shaking up its leadership structure, it is going to mess with people at all levels. It's just part of how it works. But it's okay to be hierarchical in nature. It's not okay when hierarchy gets wielded irresponsibly. And I do think that's a very important distinction to make. Is that why sometimes people fight against their own rights? Because they don't want change of the system? Can be. Or they want change that is... So... All right, I got to figure out how to not talk about this for 25 minutes. There is a tendency... This is just human nature. This is just part of what it is to be a single human with all of your lived experience. People tend to want systems to change in a way that is going to benefit their individual experience and the things that they value. But what people often forget to acknowledge is that it's impossible for a system to meet the needs of every single individual because of the broad spectrum of human value. So if you have certain things that we would consider to be inclusive, that does become exclusive of certain ideology, which then falls into, well, what have we arbitrarily determined are better morals? What have we arbitrarily decided is, better or worse, good or bad, etc. But a person that wants a system to work in their specific interests is always going to feel like they are against the system, because the system's never going to accommodate you entirely, ever. And there's just no possible way it could, because even if you have people who have the purest of intentions, who are the best leaders in every single occupied hierarchical structure, you still cannot meet the needs of everybody, because there are finite resources. Because there's finite resources. I mean, that's ultimately what it comes down to. When we talk about resources, we talk about in terms of like space and financial resources, natural resources, like all these sorts of things. So if two people want to occupy a certain piece of land and believe that the system would be working for them if it made that plot of land available to them, ultimately Do you say nobody gets the plot of land and then 2 people are disenfranchised with the system? Do you choose one person who maybe acted in accordance with what your society has determined is good and you give them the land? To which case the other person possibly becomes disenfranchised. There's just no way to win that. So yeah, sometimes people will fight against their own rights. Sometimes people will fight against other people's rights because they see it as an encroachment on their own. That's what makes being in a system so tough as a leader. You have to make certain calls, and that's why we have created certain political structures like democracy, with the idea that if the more of the will of the people proportionally wants this type of thing versus the other, then so be it. But in order for that to even work in its purest form, you have to have literally every single person in that society vote. If only a certain subset of that community votes, then you have problems there too. Like, there's a million ways people get disenfranchised with systems, and that's how somebody like Kurt Hansen comes in. Kurt Hansen shows up, has a very unified idea about what Dogtown's going to be. He connects with the people that feel disenfranchised. He panders to their fears. All he has to do is pander to their emotional experience and their core values. He doesn't even necessarily have to follow through on things. If people connect with him emotionally and believe that he believes what they believe, that's usually good enough for a lot of people. People hang in there way past what they ever thought, waiting for somebody to execute on something. And it's pretty wild to see. So, anyway, it's a good question. And I hope that makes sense. I mean, we're going to see, it's going to be really interesting to see what happens here in Dogtown with Hansen knocked out like this.
Safe streets! Safe streets!
We're fucked over here.
I mean, all these people mourning the loss of him is like legit.
Another day, another dollar.
He mattered to people in a big way, even though he was scum. Not everybody here knew that. Go to the Black Sapphire.
No estoy de humor.
I'm not in the... Can I just crouch in here? No, that would have been hilarious if I just go in there.
The final act. Hansen's wake. Enter Aguilar. Shit, V. Got me on the edge of my seat.
Get this show on the road.
Okay, here we go. I like how the hostile markers go away when I'm Aguilar.
Aguilar, welcome to the Black Sapphire. Hope you, had a pleasant flight. Thank you for coming.
Good to be here. New recruit directives. If you're reading this, you were granted the privilege of joining Barguest. Here is a list of the 5 most important directives you are to follow to the letter. 1. Orders of your superior officer take highest priority. 2. Insubordination will be severely punished. 3rd instance of misconduct will result in immediate discharge. Gross misconduct may result in a discharge in a body bag. 3. Dogtown is your new home. Treat its residents with respect, and they will repay you in kind. 4. Report all observed irregularities. Be on the lookout for any attempts to infiltrate Dogtown by agents of influence. Don't know who or what an agent of influence is? Ask your superior officer. 5. Stay patient. Your loyalty and devotion will be rewarded. Remember, we are all in this together. Colonel Kurt Hansen. Oh, I didn't read that like Hansen at all. I read that like some military recruitment propaganda guy. Whatever.
Where are you at?
Take the elevator up to the wake. It's smoky in here. It's nice to be able to walk in here and it not be hostile. I've done a lot of shit in here.
Oh shit. Time to go. Don't ask why.
Oh yeah? Are you my ex-girlfriend or something?
So, you ready?
Oh, I'm ready. What part of the brain is responsible for thoughts? It's not just one part. Language center, prefrontal cortex. It's all kind of a mishmash. Yo, what's up? Y'all recognize this? Don't be spooked. We're cool. I'm not here to kill everyone. What a suit.
Cuban cartel.
Damn.
Could get interesting. Aguilar, in honor, for all of us.
This is how you bid your leader farewell. Under the circumstance, I expected more pomp.
Pomp. Well, we did what we could. What felt right.
Take me to Bennett.
He came with extra security. Got a bad feeling.
Truth hidden in plain sight. We're like animals that have enough self-awareness to realize they're living on a farm. Their freedom limited, their death inevitable, yet believing they understand the inner machinations of their small, isolated world. Imperfect, but familiar. The truth as always eludes us. Those in control try desperately to hide the fact that the truth cannot be found within the confines of the farm, but beyond it, below it. This dangerous, grim truth. The ones who watch us, control us, rule over us, steer us into our pens so cunningly we're not even aware of it. They offer scandals and outrageous conspiracy theories to excite us, mislead us, and deceive us into believing that we are capable of peeking behind the curtain. They do this to inflate our egos and make us feel smart. This is no better illusion than overconfidence. They've conditioned us to look only where and when they want us to. The true nightmares, those can only be found on the periphery of our perception. Whole universes are being created in cyberspace designed by powerful AIs at the behest of their corporate overlords. But what is their goal? Who or what is their target? What role does the Black Wall play in all of this? This digital metaphorical wall of legend erected to shield us, Homo sapiens, from the threat of wild AIs. How do we know when it even still exists? How do we know if Militech, Arasaka, or Night Court haven't breached it to contact the other side? What if these mysterious beings born in the net have begun to make their way into our world? What if they're here already? Some might argue that a farm animal shouldn't care who their master is, so long as they're provided for with food, water. To those, I offer a warning worthy of the times we live in. Maybe the time has come to bite the hand that feeds. This is a much more like traditional setup than I would have anticipated, yeah. Oh, shit. Dude, I find viewings just, they're so uncomfortable. I grew up in the Midwest. People do viewings and funerals. I mean, I realize it's more than just a Midwest thing, but man, I like to remember what people were like when they were alive. It's weird when the last impression I've had of a person is their corpse, you know? Why do people do it? People do it for any number of reasons. I mean, I will acknowledge that for some people, open casket is a way to find some closure. In a weird, well, not a weird way, but in some ways, it's kind of, there is like an evolutionary purpose to it. If, for example, like if you have 2 dogs or 2 cats or something like that, if one of them dies, having the other one see and sniff the dead one is actually like helps them understand what's happened. And I think, you know, sometimes we humans like to forget that we're animals because of how sophisticated we are with stuff. But there is a part of it that is like, you look at a corpse and you go, yeah, they're dead. And there's like a finality to it in your mind. You know, some people, it's more of a symbolic thing where it's like, I get to see them one last time and that's meaningful. Maybe you say some things. I mean, there's any number of reasons why people ritualize it in this way. Personally, I have never really found it to do much for me. I see a corpse and I'm like, well, the body is not really who the person was. Like the body is just what the person was like. You know, I realize as organic beings, like I am my nervous system and my brain and stuff. You can't just take somebody's brain and plop it in some other body. And it's a whole thing. But like ultimately, it's like if that body's not moving around, if that brain is not processing the environment and interfacing with me, it's not them. The who's in my brain is who I'm looking at. So, you know, it's, again, everybody has, so I'm not making a statement about like what's better or worse than anything else. It's just, for me, I've always found this type of thing to be very odd. It doesn't do anything for me. But in knowing that and understanding that, I've been able to figure out the things that I can do that are meaningful for me. And I encourage all of you to do the same. Like, you don't need to just do an open casket because that's what you think you're supposed to do. Like, really, like, you know, think about what feels right for you in terms of like grieving. If somebody does have an open casket, you don't have to go up and view the body. You're not required to do these things. And this connects to a whole, like, you grieve the way that you need to grieve.
Aguilar, what a surprise.
This is Bennett. Lieutenant Colonel Bennett.
Havana sends its condolences. The news of Colonel Hansen's death shook us all.
I'm sure the Colonel would appreciate your goodwill. You're dismissed.
Havana's will has not wavered. Dogtown needs a strong leader. One who is capable of protecting our shared interests.
Preferably one that also knows how to operate a megaphone, but that's a whole other thing.
That leader will be Bennett. The people here heed his words, as will you, Jago.
Oh, until when? Until you leave town and he's free to stab me in the back? I want names, contacts, connections. Your informants in the NCPD, everyone on your payroll.
Ridiculous.
You will prove your loyalty to me.
No, Bennett. If you would unleash hell upon Dogtown, just know this pistol will be the first hound out of it.
I don't think that's necessary.
I would like us to lay our cards on the table. That is the wild card. I give a finger, you ask for the hand. Alas, I have only an itchy trigger finger left to offer. Our future prosperity depends on a show of your goodwill. Only my personal opinion, of course. Perhaps if you do not agree, I could, persuade you.
Fucking fine.
We have a deal.
Hope I won't regret it. Havana has eyes everywhere. Behave, both of you, all of you, or I'll be back.
Yeah, he's basically trying to be Kurt Hansen. That dude is gonna be. He's gonna be a shitty leader, probably, because he's gonna try to be Hansen. Be your own guy. You gotta be Hansen. This guy probably respected Hansen so much that he's gonna try to, like, see, this happens, man. It's like when you try to mimic instead of finding your own voice. Like, certainly you can borrow things that you like from people that you respect, but you gotta understand that, like, you're not Kurt Hansen. Kurt Hansen was Kurt Hansen. He did it in the way that he needed to, in a way that made sense for him. But you don't have that same experience. So, yeah, you've got a bit of some, I mean, we'll call it, I guess, nepotism adjacent here. But ultimately, you're not responsible for being Kurt Hansen 2.0. You're responsible for being Bennett. And I think he's going to be a crappy leader because of that. I very much believe that his respect for Kurt and thinking that that's what he's supposed to be is going to get in the way of him doing things properly. And we saw that with how he handled Jago. I want all of your stuff. I demand loyalty. I mean, basically operating on the same kind of insecurity that Hansen was operating on. That's not a show of good leadership. That's a show that shows a lack of awareness of the system that you work in and the strings that have to be pulled in order for certain things to happen. Do we love it? No. But is that the reality of it? Yeah. Should I give Hansen a little bit of that Haktua on his face before we... I hate that I just said that. I hate that I just said that. That's how much I disrespect this guy. I brought up Haktua at his funeral. That's how much I don't like him.
May I call my pilot now? To have the engines warmed and my round chilled? I do hope I will not hear of any surprises once I am gone.
Good fortune in biz favors the strong. You know that well, Aguilar.
Indeed. A philosophy that likewise applies to our arrangement. I'll be in touch.
Man, I'm really killing this role. Alright, where'd Jago go? Yeah, not a lot of people up here. I would have thought there'd be more. I hate that I said that, man. I went back and forth in my head for what felt like an eternity of whether I was going to make that joke. Ugh.
Dog eat dog world, I guess. What's that make Dogtown?
A warning to you, Silverhand. One you will heed.
Does he have the best video game hair of all time?
yet? Whose orders to follow? Whose boots to shine?
We'll see. Whoever proves the stronger dog, I guess.
Dogtown,
You're
hoorah.
welcome here anytime, Aguilar. We'll always have a table ready.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Curtain call. Take a bow, V. Had our fun, but it's time we send Aguilar off with a heartfelt adios.
Indeed.
No estoy de humor.
Indeed it is.
What will I do now?
Adios, Aguilar. It's been real.
Ta-da!
The word is Dogtown has a new alpha.
Your Bennett's an apex predator. Gonna make a fine new Hansen.
With a sensible partner at his side, he stands to achieve more than Hansen ever could. Marvelous work, V. Worth every penny and more. That'll be all for now. I'll be in touch.
Cool. 10 grand. Hell yeah. That went smooth, yeah. No complaints. Alright. Let's go see what Song's up to in the back of a van. Or an apartment. Or a field. I have no idea. Like... Or a limo. A spaceship. Dude, like, she's... This is gonna be interesting. Did she tell us where she is? They asked you to choose, so you chose. You weren't driven by a desire to save anyone's life. Reed and Songbird both offered you treatment. Maybe you realized that no matter what your choice, you'd be betraying someone, so the best thing you could do is not betray yourself in the process. That's why you stood by the chick who was fighting to survive just like you. Did I get that right? Yeah, I think I did. Would I have chosen any different? Luckily, I don't have to sweat over those kinds of questions. Good luck, V. You and Songbird both need it. V, I received word someone attempted to sell a Zetatech ocular implant in Dogtown. Bells ring, buzzers buzz. I trust I needn't point out the similarities between said prototype and the one you sought among the scavengers. The very same, perhaps? Thought we closed that contract. We did. It still might interest you to learn he was last seen in a Golden's Pacific squat. Really? Well, it's not in my log, so I don't care. Sativa, thank you very much for the raid. This game is so gorgeous. God damn, we had to travel a long way. All right. See where she's at. She's actually in a van. Oh God. Okay. Oh, I was okay. Well, I guess it makes sense. Oh, Jesus. Get in a van. Okay. Got bullet holes in it. This is good. Oh, yeah.
Fuck. You look pretty,
The senses are going. Seeing dark spots. It's hard to breathe.
Wanna help? Tell me how.
What the hell took so long?
Sorry to make you wait.
My head's a cage full of pain.
Just thought it was a good idea to prep. So, what now?
Let's roll. Black Clinic, remember? It's on Luna. Got a flight all lined up to get me there.
She's going to the moon. Okay. Wow. Okay.
Wow. Quite the coup.
Coup schmoo, it's my last resort. In all likelihood, I'll serve as their lab rat once there. AI's within the neural matrix. They're going to extract it. Create a prototype cure for us. I'll contact you. As soon as they're ready for us both. I promise.
Oh, don't love the idea. Smells risky as hell. For us both.
Well, any risk-free options are way out of reach by now.
That is true.
So, spaceflight means spaceport. NCX. It's where we're heading. Now, I can't just stride in. I draw attention from who knows who in my condition. So you'll stride in. Then head to the Jago terminal. Find a side door to open for me.
What about spaceport security?
Jago terminal's being renovated. So not many bodies. Lots of cover. Also minimal security, probably. Can't ignore that factor.
Think you have the strength to net run?
Full-on net running. Maybe via your personal. All this shit's too much.
Yeah.
Damn, V.
I've wronged so many. Hurt so many. Can't help wondering if it's even avoidable. You know? Hurting others.
While I am, certainly open to taking that at face value and assuming that she's just worried about what the future brings, that feels a bit sus to me. So they're going to synthesize a cure. But I'm not going to the moon with you? This isn't a, hey, fly us to the moon. This is fly me to the moon. I'm telling you, my spidey senses, that feels like foreshadowing that she's gonna stab my ass in the back. I really don't believe that the both of us are getting this cure. I really don't. And if the final choice I have to make here is who's getting it, me or her, that's gonna be a hell of a choice. But
Dunno.
I don't know either. Boots or feet?
Relax.
Read.
All good.
V.
Yeah?
I don't want to die. Can't help but regret. I just... Help me. Ditch this town.
Meds are kicking in. You're all right.
We shouldn't linger. Grab the wheel. Could you?
Let me scan you. Need to know how you're doing. State you're in.
Whatever you want.
Error.
Shit. This isn't right.
Primary memory loss. Wow.
Degen's fast. Too fast for any known pathogen. Metastasis is spreading straight from the brain. Said Tycho Terminal's closed for refurbishment.
That's it?
Sure we can fly out of there in spite?
Got a one-way ticket. From someone who follows their own rules.
You've had shit luck with partners lately.
Till you came along. Working out kinda okay.
Why am I not going to the moon with you? Why is only one of us going to the moon?
Try and rest up.
Status, severely unstable, pathology unknown, neuroimaging abnormal, prognosis poor, diagnosis inconclusive, suspected metastases, error code 11. Hey, thanks for watching this, friends. I appreciate y'all taking the time to play through this with me. Orbital Air welcomes you to Night City International and Translunar. We kindly remind you that vehicles on spaceport grounds must adhere to the speed limit. Travelers are required to abide by all safety protocols and follow instructions from spaceport personnel. Orbital Air reserves the right to immediately and indefinitely detain any persons behaving aggressively toward other travelers. Okay. That Orbital Air logo is awesome. I love that.
Steel yourself. We'll be pulling in.
Okay.
Thinking back to that first contact you made. We've come a long way.
I haven't quite reached this end yet.
We were told to be law-abiding citizens. That is what we'll do. We are really just pulling right up in the front door, huh?
Obviously, you can't be packing when you go in. Standard spaceport security. Leave your iron with me. I'll have it when we meet up again.
So, what's your super spy secret for being invisible, moving on the sly?
Just act normal, like any other passenger. Don't stop and talk, make eye contact, linger or look aimless. You have a terminal and a gate to get to.
Maybe I mask up. I mean, Reed does know my face.
If I tag you by the tech sig as you went through security, it's their gear. They'd finger it anywhere.
Oh, fuck. Flashback coming in hard. Compeki Plaza heist.
Now, this is where I get to talk in the most concrete way about how past situations do not predict future unrelated events. It is very easy to believe that handing our weapons over to Son Mi is a bad idea because of what happened way back in the day. But those two events are completely unrelated. Now, it doesn't mean that this isn't a bad idea. This very well could be a horrible idea. But our brain likes to believe that if we've seen something represented before in a certain way, particularly if it's specific, that a presenting moment similar is going to go the same way. And that's not a thing. The reason our brain does that is because it wants to protect us. It wants us to be able to anticipate what's going on because that mitigates risk. But the reality is, if you believe that this is going to go exactly the way that it's gone before, that actually is antithetical to your survival in some possibly, because you may start anticipating things and variables that have nothing to do with the current situation. You might actually miss important information in the here and now because you're so worried that this is going to be a repeat of what happened before. And trauma is actually an example of what I'm talking about to the extreme, where you have something that so heavily violates your expectations, with a lost sense of safety and security, that your brain goes haywire and looks for different things to try to weave together an awareness of what it is that could lead to this thing happening again that was so horrific, which leads to trauma responses and people believing that certain scenarios where there's really 0% chance of that thing happening again is going to happen again because this thing is present. Like, if somebody was in a hotel and got held in Tokyo and got held at gunpoint when they got robbed and they were standing on orange carpet, and then they're visiting family in North Dakota in some safe town, and they walk into a motel and there's orange carpet on the ground and they freak out. Because your brain believes that the chances you're going to get robbed at gunpoint are higher now because of orange carpet, which is unrelated, but is a trigger to that circumstance that fires your brain up going, nope, we got to avoid this because I'm more likely to get held at gunpoint on orange carpet. No, you aren't. The orange carpet is inconsequential to the fact that you got held up, unless that person pointed the gun at you and said, give me your orange carpet. And even then, walking on the orange carpet again isn't a predictor of whether something bad is going to happen. But the strong emotional reaction that is involuntary that folks have to certain things like this is a powerful force. And it's one that's really good to understand, because when we talk about trigger management, we're not talking about tell everybody that orange carpet is your trigger. What we're saying is learn to understand that just because something happened in this circumstance before doesn't mean that it is guaranteed to happen in a future circumstance that appears to be similar. So V having this flashback here, totally legitimate, but it's predicated on a false notion, which is that us giving our guns to Sonmi is going to lead to similar hubris that happened last time. Again, maybe it will. Maybe the variables at hand suggest that this is a bad idea. I'm not saying that it isn't a bad idea, but if we believe that it is a bad idea solely because of that past experience, we're missing the mark.
Banish that shit. You're better than you were. Armed or not, you'll manage. So again, Tycho Terminal. Get there unnoticed by anyone who matters. Eyes peeled for orbital air guards especially. We can't know what they'll be watching for.
Join up soon.
You're gonna drive in that condition. Okay.
Hey, V.
Yeah?
Good luck.
Thanks. Could probably use it.
Okay, on the ports net. Infrastructure clear bogies. Danik and Cyber.
Oh God, this is gonna. Oh man. Oh man. I'm so sorry to do this to you, but I gotta end the stream here. I have no idea what we're walking into, and I can feel myself running out of gas, and I want to be on full alert for this. I'm so sorry. I know that this, I promise you I am not doing this to be a pain in the ass. But I am exhausted, and as soon as I walk into that spaceport, I just feel like shit's gonna hit the fan, and I need to be ready for it. So, thank you so much for watching. Please don't hate me. Hopefully you're binging this and you can hop right on over to the next episode. I'm not joking. I actually am. Actually, I'm really tired. I had a long day, and it's just, I could just feel it. I could feel my brain falling out. So I hope you enjoyed this episode. It's a nice little tee up for what I imagine is going to be absolutely bananas in the next one. Please leave a thumbs up. Don't leave a thumbs down because you're mad at me for the cliffhanger. Like, leave me a thumbs down if you think the content sucks, but please don't leave a thumbs down because of the cliffhanger. Just as I'm walking up to this, I'm like, oh man. So I appreciate you all for watching. Please leave a thumbs up, leave a comment down below. And I love you all. If you're binging, I'll catch you in the next episode. If you're waiting for the next one to come out, I'll get it out as soon as I can. Y'all are fabulous. I'll see you in part 19.